Welcome to the 10 o'clock news with me, Penworth Shelfman. This just in. Self-proclaimed Disney sequel expert and Toy Story mega fan Seamus Gorman has announced this.
I'm done. I don't want to be the world's leading expert on the Disney sequels anymore. I think it's time to pass the title on to someone else, someone more worthy. You can finish this series.
This news came as a shock announcement, but this is why. I'm going to be taking over from Seamus, but I'm adding a twist to his series. No more are we going to see the classic Disney stories have a sequel. We are travelling to a new land. Disney Pixar, let's see your sequel. Whoa, how did I get here? So, let's start this series off with a bang. Toy Story 2, arguably one of the greatest Pixar films, let alone Pixar sequel. Surprisingly, this sequel didn't start off as a film which would go to cinema. It was originally meant to be a direct-to-DVD shorter film. However, this was changed in development because of John Lasseter and his team. They decided to argue this. Now, Toy Story 2, one of the most profitable Disney Pixar films, was going to cinemas. This meant that Toy Story 2 needed a few rewrites and needed to be extended. Pixar and Disney made a new deal, and they were now on their way to create new Pixar films. Toy Story 2 revolves around neglect, friendship, and change. Toy Story 2 starts out with this wholesome scene of Andy playing with Woody and Buzz and the rest of the gang. But oh no, what happens? Conflict! Setting it up from the start. We see Woody's arm get ripped. Now, Woody was meant to be going to cowboy camp with Andy, but now that he's got a rip in his arm, he can't go, because Andy is only minutes away from going to cowboy camp, and he can't fix him before he goes. Woody is then shelved. This means Woody is put on a shelf, waiting for repair, but most toys who are put on this shelf never comes down. After Woody's put on this shelf, Andy goes off to cowboy camp and leaves Woody behind. This causes trauma in Woody's life as he feels neglected and forgotten. This sets up the whole premise of Toy Story 2. While on the shelf, Woody finds one of his old friends, Wheezy, a toy penguin who has a broken squeaker. Wheezy had been on this shelf for quite a while now, and he hasn't been repaired. After he finds Wheezy, Woody goes to sleep, and well, toys can sleep apparently. We've seen this in Toy Story 4 and Toy Story 2, but does that mean toys wake up just before humans wake up? So humans don't realise that the toys have been sleeping? Or do the toys actually not sleep and then they are just pretending, but then Woody has a nightmare right now? Woody has a nightmare about neglect and Andy throwing him away. This causes mass terror in Woody's life and makes him scared of his future. Later on, Mrs. Davis, Andy's mother, comes into Andy's room and starts cleaning and taking items out which Andy no longer needs or wants to keep anymore. And she takes Wheezy. Now Wheezy is going to be put into a yard sale, and this causes Woody to want to retrieve him back because he thinks that Andy will still want Wheezy, and Wheezy is a great friend of Woody's. So what does Woody do? He shows his courage and determination and goes retrieves Wheezy. He manages to find Andy's dog, Buster, and he rides downstairs and goes and saves Wheezy from the yard sale. But, oh no, we've got to have conflict, don't we? Woody accidentally falls off Buster when they're going back into the house, and Woody gets picked up by a little girl. This little girl wants to buy Woody, but her mother says that she can't have him. So, it's all fine, we're fine, don't worry. Woody was nearly sold, but it's okay now. Wait, it's not okay. Al, a toy collector, he's just picked up Woody and wants to buy him. Al goes over to Mrs. Davis and asks if he can buy him. She says no, and takes Woody back out of his hands. But what does Al do when Mrs. Davis isn't looking? He steals Woody. This sets up the rest of the film. Woody is now stolen and Buzz and the gang have to go search for him. Buzz, Ham, Slinky, Potato Head and Rex don't know where Woody has been stolen to. They just know that Al has taken him. But Buzz, being the whiz he is, figures out that Al's number plate says Al's Toy Barn on it. Buzz had previously seen Al's Toy Barn on TV and manages to locate a map to Al's Toy Barn. So, what did the toys do? They set out on a mission in true Toy Story style with the comic geniuses of Mr. Potato Head and Ham, and even Rex. Let's cut back to Woody. Woody is taken up to an apartment where he finds a cowgirl named Jessie, and a horse named Bullseye, and an old prospector. These toys have been in Al's collection for a long time, but they have never been sold or moved on because Al needs a full collection of all the toys to sell them. Because without Woody, Jessie, Bullseye and Stinky Pete aren't worth that much. Woody finds out his past. Now, to someone back in 1999, learning about Woody's past would have been so cool. There was a whole TV show about him, but what happens? This TV show is cancelled because of Sputnik and astronauts. We cut back to Buzz, Woody and Slinky and Ham and Rex. Is that all of them? Yes, that must be. And they're travelling to find Woody because that's what toys do. They go after their friends, just like Woody did in Toy Story 1. He went and retrieved Buzz. This ends up in the toys needing to cross a road. And, well, let's just say it nearly ended in disaster for them. The toys decide to sneakily stand under some cones so that they aren't seen by humans when they're crossing the road. But this causes chaos for the humans as cars start to swerve and slide because these cones are in the middle of the road and they think that they are redirecting them into different ways. This causes for a massive collision. The pipe which is on the back of the truck starts rolling and coming towards the toys. Now Mr. Potato Head, we don't know what he was doing, but he got stuck in some chewing gum. He couldn't move because he had chewing gum stuck on his shoe and his shoes weren't moving. So we're stuck in this focus of Mr. Potato Head nearly getting flattened by this massive oncoming pipe, but in true Mr. Potato style, with just 1 second to go, he manages to escape the massive pipe, with even realising that there was ever a pipe there. While this is all occurring, Woody speaks of Andy to Jessie.
Oh, whoa there. We need we need a little break. Joseph, you need a break. We need a man of culture to describe what happens in this truly amazing scene, and that's why I'm here. Penworth Shelfman, a man of unique beauty. So, in this next scene, Al hires a man to fix Woody, and this truly is the most satisfying scene ever in cinema. I cannot say enough about this scene. Have you ever seen oddly satisfying videos on YouTube? We see this old man fix Woody because, as we know, as I have described before, not me, I mean Joseph has described before, Woody gets his arm ripped earlier on by Andy, and now Al has hired this man to fix up Woody, to fix his arm and to give him a fresh coat of paint, and he even adds a new layer of paint over Andy's name on the bottom of Woody's shoe. This symbolises moving on for Woody, and a change happens in Woody after this. Let's cut back to you, Joseph.
Woody learns of Jessie's past, and he sees the true outline of a toy's life and how that toys can be forgotten and neglected, and he learns this, and we later see this in Toy Story 3 as well. He learns that Jessie once was a girl's favourite toy until she grew up and moved on. This is the same situation as that we see with Andy in Toy Story 3. It is like poetry. It's like they had always planned it to be this way. Woody sees this and he doesn't want to return to Andy anymore because he realises that Andy will grow up and neglect him. And if he is sold with Jessie and Bullseye and Stinky Pete and taken to Japan into a museum, kids will love him forever and cherish him. And poor old Andy, well, Andy's just gonna forget about him in a couple of years. So he thinks that this is the good decision. Buzz, Ham, Slinky, Rex and Potato Head make it to Al's toy barn. The store is closed when they arrive there, so there are no humans when they're in there, so there's no conflict there. But while they're looking around the toy barn, Buzz finds a Buzz Lightyear aisle and sees how foolish he used to be, thinking that he was the real Buzz Lightyear.
Am I really that fat? Ow!
But he comes in encounter with another Buzz Lightyear who thinks he truly is the real Buzz Lightyear. This causes Buzz to be boxed up and put on a shelf, so he's basically imprisoned, and this person who thinks that he is Buzz Lightyear goes off with Potato Head and the rest of the gang. This is absolutely hilarious as we see this new Buzz interact with the rest of the gang, and the rest of the gang just believing that it is the Buzz Lightyear they know and love. Buzz, who has been locked up in a toy box, manages to escape and goes after the toys, but they're already too far ahead. Mr. Potato Head and the rest of the gang make it to Al's office, and what do you know? Al comes into his office at the toy barn, and the toys look for Woody, but they can't find him. So they decide to jump in to Al's bag. They think that, hey, why don't we just jump in Al's bag because Woody's probably where Al is. They get into Al's bag and they make it across to Al's building where his apartment is. But they are left in the car, of course, because we need this conflict that we're talking about. So the toys manage to get out of the car and they make it to an elevator shaft. The real Buzz Lightyear is just behind them and has accidentally unleashed a toy of Zurg, Buzz Lightyear's arch nemesis. This creates one of the funniest scenes in the whole entire Toy Story saga as we know it, as we see Zurg chase after Buzz Lightyear. As I said before, the toys make it to the elevator shaft and manage to make it onto the elevator, and they manage to make it up to Al's apartment. They manage to get into Al's apartment and find Woody, Bullseye, Stinky Pete and Jessie. Now, Woody doesn't want to return to the toys anymore because he feels like when he returns to Andy, he'll just be forgotten about, and he is very foolish, but also true at the same time. This is where the other Buzz Lightyear, the real Buzz Lightyear, manages to catch up with the rest of the toys. And there is a brilliant scene between the fake Buzz Lightyear and the real Buzz Lightyear, and oh well. The real Buzz Lightyear takes off the fake Buzz Lightyear's helmet.
Buzz!
I had a feeling it was you, Buzz. My front end just had to catch up with my back end.
This proves to the toy gang that this is the real Buzz Lightyear and that the other Buzz Lightyear is not actually the real Buzz Lightyear, as he believes that he will choke if he takes off the helmet. But obviously the real Buzz Lightyear doesn't think that because he's learnt from his ways in Toy Story 1. But Woody still doesn't want to come with them, so the toys go. They leave Woody behind. This leaves the toys in scars. They can't believe Woody, Andy's favourite toy, is not coming back with them. Woody changes his mind. He wants to return. He wants to go back with Andy. He wants to be the favourite toy again. He goes and gets Bullseye and Jessie and asks if they want to come. But it's too late. Stinky Pete, the real villain of this film, has already locked the elevator shaft and Woody can't escape. At that moment, Al comes in to his apartment and takes Woody, Stinky Pete and Jessie and Bullseye, puts them into a suitcase, and he's taking them to the airport. Buzz, fake Buzz, and the rest of the toy gang go after Woody, and, well, what do you do if you're a set of toys? Do you A, walk to the airport? Do you B, steal a pizza truck van, or do you C, give up on Woody? You steal a pizza truck van, don't you? So the toys steal a pizza truck van and drive it all the way to the airport. While doing this, we meet 3 new aliens, and they fall in love with Mr. Potato Head because he saves their lives. They are eternally grateful for this because they were about to fall out of the truck when they were turning a corner at high speed, but Mr. Potato Head manages to save them. The toys and Al both arrive at the airport, but the toys still haven't catched up with Woody and Bullseye and Stinky Pete. Woody gets put on a conveyor belt at the airport and gets taken down into the, what is it, like a luggage sorting conveyor belt thing, which is headed towards the plane to Japan. Now, in this wonderfully clever scene, we get to see Slinky the dog pretend to be a real dog and go in a dog crate, and the rest of the toys are all in this crate, and they all jump on to the conveyor belt and go after Woody. The toys are going after Woody, but they're in this massive room full of suitcases and they can't see the suitcase which Woody was in. So they see a suitcase which looks like Woody's suitcase and they go after it, and the rest of the gang go for another suitcase which also looks like the suitcase that Woody was in. The toys make it to the other suitcase, and it's not Woody in that suitcase. But they make it to the other suitcase, and he's in the other suitcase. They nearly manage to grab him out, but he also wants to take Jessie and Bullseye home with him as well. Woody manages to get out to the suitcase, but Jessie doesn't. Only him and Bullseye have managed to escape. Jessie is now put on to the aeroplane. So what happens? A massive chase scene. Buzz, Bullseye, and Woody all run after this plane. Woody manages to make it onto the plane and goes to rescue Jessie. Manages to get Jessie. They nearly escape while the plane is on the ground, but oh no, they shut the doors too quickly and Jessie and Woody are stuck on the plane. The plane starts to go on the runway and Jessie and Woody need to find a way out quick. So what do? They see an emergency escape hatchet and they climb down onto the wheel of a plane. Now, these toys are on the wheel of the plane, and if they fall off this wheel, they most likely will die. So, as I told you before, Woody has learnt about his past through Al and his collection, and about that TV show which was cancelled. Well, the final episode of that TV show, we see Woody. He jumps over this massive canyon with Bullseye. Now, Woody uses this as a metaphor for why Jessie needs to trust Woody. They need to finish Woody's Roundup, the TV show which was cancelled and never got a final finish. They need to jump off the plane and jump on to Bullseye.
Jessie, let go of the plane!
What, are you crazy?
Just pretend it's the final episode of Woody's Roundup!
But it was canceled! We never saw if you made it!
Well, then let's find out together!
And make it home safely. So, they jump, and guess what? It's all fine. They manage to jump onto Bullseye, and Buzz is there too. They're all safe. The movie ends well. The toys make it home, and Jessie and the aliens and Bullseye are now part of Andy's collection, and Andy loves and plays with all these new toys. And he did not forget about Woody, and he does not grow apart from Woody.
Oh, hello there. It's me again, Penworth Shelfman, and I've come here to do the final evaluation of a perfect Pixar sequel. So, why is Toy Story 2 a perfect film? Well, I can tell you that Penworth Shelfman can disappear off for now. It extends the Toy Story series with a new light and broadens the world of Toy Story with more vibrance and colour and personality. It calculates in humour and a brilliant story, a wonderful addition to the Toy Story series. Toy Story 2 really broadens the story of Toy Story 3 and makes us understand the difficulties of a toy's life and how moving on and children getting older can affect a toy's life, and how
Jesse has already been through these situations, but there is always hope at the end of the tunnel. So yeah guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Penrith Shelfman will be back next week to talk about Cars 2, the best Pixar sequel. It's not, please don't believe a word that Penrith Shelfman says, he's lying. Every last word of it. So yeah guys, hope you're excited for Cars 2 and why it's worse than you think. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and remember to like, comment and subscribe.